Hello my dear friends, you're on the Military Summary channel, and this short video we're going to discuss the most important events that took place during the previous night at the local time. And we had a lot of updates, and I believe that today is going to be a very interesting day. First of all, the most important that we got during the previous night at the local time is that Antony Blinken brought the Ukrainians not just good or bad piece of news. The most important that he brought another military aid. And the United States of America is going to send uranium depleted rounds for the tanks Abrams. And of course, we understand that this supply, this package the Ukrainians will receive September. So that means that probably during September we're going to see Abrams on the battlefields. We've seen already Challengers on the battlefields, and we saw that the Challengers haven't managed to pass their first challenge on the territory in the battle with Russians. We'll see whether the Abrams are able to be more successful in comparison with Challengers. But why I'm saying that today is going to be a very interesting day. First of all, today is the birthday of Ukrainian Special Forces. This man is Kirill Budanov, the head of Ukrainian Special Forces, the head of Ukrainian intelligence, and he's responsible for a lot of things like destroying the Crimean bridge, like killing people, popular people and influencers on the territory of Russian Federation. He's responsible for many things. And as I understand, today is the birthday of this service, and today he will try to show and bring some present for the Russians. So we need to expect a very powerful activity from the special forces during the birthday of this unit. Now let's go to the ground, and the most important updates are coming from Odessa area, from the southern part. During the previous night, the Russians made another massive wave of drone strikes, of Iran strikes against the port facilities, port infrastructure in the south of Ukraine. The Russians attacked the settlement like Izmail, like Reni, like Kiliya, and as a result of those strikes, the Russians managed to damage one more time the Ukrainian port facilities, and the most important target that the Russians are trying to achieve is to destroy the areas where the Ukrainians can produce, collect weapon, and to be more precise, the Navy drones that the Ukrainians use to attack the Russian Crimea and the bridge between Crimea and the mainland. And as I understand, the Russians during those days were attacking this territory like yesterday, the day before yesterday, to prevent any activity from the Ukrainian side, to be more precise, to prevent any activity from the head of Ukrainian intelligence of attacking against the Crimean territory. I believe that this situation are connected. Now let's move to the ground. The Russians have been a little bit activated in the vicinity of Kamyanska. During the previous days, they continue bombing and attacking the Ukrainian forces in the settlement. As you can see, this settlement is almost reduced to ruins, and it looks like Rabotina from some angles of view, but anyway, there are still buildings, and we can consider this situation as something like drone preparation before the next waves of attacks of the Russian forces to the northern direction. Of course, it's possible operation, but only in case if the Russians do have manpower and do have plan how to cut supply of the Ukrainian forces in Orekhov. Highly unlikely the Russians are going to do this, but anyway. Now we're moving to Rabotina, Verbova territory. We got also a lot of updates. The Russians reported that during the previous night, the Ukrainians made few attempts to storm Verbova. Those were like first reconnaissance in combat, then there was reconnaissance in force. All those attacks were repelled by the Russians, and the Ukrainians were forced to step back. But we understand that today the Special Forces Day, and today of course the Ukrainians will try to continue their more attempts to attack. We'll see whether they're able to do something or not. Also, we got some very important geolocations. For example, on this video was published by the Ukrainian forces, and this video we see how the Russians brought some reinforcements to this forest line, and after that the Ukrainians started bombing and shelling this forest line, which confirms that at least this territory in the north of Verbova still remains under the Russian control. The same situation a little bit to the west. The Russians were bombing the Ukrainian positions in this area, which also confirms that the Ukrainians managed to maintain and to capture a few forest line and got closer to Verbova itself. As I understand, and the Ukrainian plans Ukrainians is going to be to first to maintain these fields between Novopokrovka, Novofyodorovka and Verbovo. So currently this is the main Ukrainian goal and the main Ukrainian target in this area. As soon as they're able to maintain the flanks, then they will start, they will increase the pressure in Verbovo from the north. We don't have any updates regarding the southern direction, whether the Ukrainians are planning to attack in this direction or not. Probably they will, but yet we haven't received even a single confirmation of that. Also, we got another interesting video on how the Russians managed to destroy the Ukrainian tank using Krasnopol accurate shell. As you can see, very effective weapon. And the thing that the most important information from the video we see is that Ukrainians during the previous days managed to concentrate significant number of tanks in this area. If we increase the number of updates, we're going to see that, for example, in the same area, the Russians managed to destroy Challenger those days. Now we see a tank on the south. So the Ukrainians managed to accumulate tanks, concentrate tanks. And the question is, what is wrong with the Russian drone forces? Why they're not attacking the Ukrainian tanks? So probably there are also some problems with this from the Russian side, because there are too many tanks, as I see, and they are ready to continue offensive operation, to continue wedging deep in this territory. The Russians continue bombing and shelling Robotyne, trying to destroy every single building and to reduce Ukrainian possibilities to dig in deeper on this bridgehead. As I understand, the Russians understand the value of this territory and they just want to be secured and to be sure that Ukrainians don't have possibilities to continue any offensive operation to the south or in direction of Kopany. We haven't received almost nothing from Vremivka tactical bridgehead, so today we expect more updates. The only thing that we discussed and we know for sure, and this information we received from the Russian sources, is that as a result of fierce clashes, the Ukrainians managed to enter Novodonetsk, and currently, according to some information we have, the Ukrainians control a part of the settlement. Very difficult to understand which part is under Ukrainian control, but let's color this like this. And currently the Ukrainians try to storm the settlement, and there are very fierce clashes inside the settlement. So we'll see whether the Ukrainians are able to achieve some results during the day. When talking about Klishchiivka Bakhmut, we haven't received almost nothing from this area either. The only interesting video we got is that the Ukrainians launched a counteroffensive operation. If you remember, this is the area where the Russians were evacuating the prisoners of war, the Ukrainians, that video that we published a few days ago. And today the Ukrainians launched a counter-offensive operation trying to restore control over the hill. They sent some infantry, some soldiers. As you can see, they're landed in the vicinity of the forest. So we'll see whether during the day, I believe we're going to receive some updates whether the Ukrainians were able to restore control or not. Very interesting video I would like to discuss with you from the vicinity of Mironovsky, this area. If you remember, during the previous days, I was talking a lot about the usage of HIMARS weapon and about an effective usage of this type of missiles. For example, on this video we see this video that we discussed that the Ukrainians using one HIMARS missiles destroyed one Russian Grad system. And for example, on this video we see how the Ukrainians discovered another howitzer position, and as a result of HIMARS strike they destroyed just a small howitzer position that is very cheap. And I told you that this is like very unuseful, like not accurate usage, not effective usage of this type of weapon. And today you may ask me, so what is the effective way of usage? Today I will publish you the video, the fresh video of the effective usage of HIMARS missiles. On this video we can see a small Russian ammo depot, at least 4 armed vehicles with ammo, with munition. We have local ammo depot underground and so on. And in a few seconds the Ukrainians managed to discover these positions, and they launch HIMARS missiles, and as a result of that strike the entire platoon, probably support platoon, was destroyed. And this is effective usage of HIMARS missiles. As a result of that strike, 4 or 5 trucks were destroyed, a local ammo depot was destroyed, and the Russians had significant losses as a result of that strike. So this is effective one. Most of the Ukrainians' usage of HIMARS missiles are not effective from financial perspective and so on, because it's too expensive. The question, of course, the question is whether the states are able to support the Ukrainians like endless number of these missiles. From this perspective, maybe there is no problem with this, but I don't think that the United States of America have possibility to produce significant endless number of these type of missiles and to use them against just let's call it, I don't know, small strongholds or something like this, or just regular light cars. Also, during the previous night, the Ukrainians made an attempt to attack the Rostov-on-Don using drones. Probably they were trying to attack the Russian headquarters of the special military operation. The drones was discovered and they were shot down, and one of the drones fell down on the car, and then there was a very heavy explosion. Maybe this is the case, the situation that Ukrainians were trying to implement during the birthday of the special forces of Ukraine. And that's it for today. Military Summary channel reminds to condemn any violence in the world. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel, put your likes, join my Patreon, and have a good day. Bye bye.